Something big is happening in South Africa's financial world. In early April 2026, the country's regulator brought the hammer down on several investment operators, and the aftershocks are, well, they're still being felt. So today, we're going to break down this intense crackdown, and more importantly, what it all means for you.
You know, it's one thing to get hit with a fine, but it's a whole different story to get banned from your own industry for more than a decade. So that's the real question we're digging into here. Why the sudden, super severe shift? What's actually behind this aggressive new attitude from the regulators?
All right, to really get what's going on, we have to start with the specific events that went down in early April 2026. And trust me, these weren't just warning shots, they were decisive, game-changing actions.
Okay, take a look at the details here. On April 1st and 2nd, the Financial Sector Conduct Authority, that's the FSCA, made two huge moves. First, they went after Kanya Holdings and Azania investors. The penalties there hit 400,000 Rand, and the bans went up to a staggering 15 years. Then, literally the next day, they hit Aquaman Fund with a massive R2 million penalty and a 12-year ban for its director. And the common thread connecting both? Neither of them had a license to operate.
Let's just pause on that number for a second. 15 years. We're not talking about a temporary timeout here. A 15-year debarment is, for all intents and purposes, a career ender. The regulator is literally pulling these people out of the financial industry for good.
And then there's the money. Combined, just these two cases racked up over 2 million Rand in penalties. This shows that the FSCA isn't just escalating the professional consequences, but the financial ones too. The cost of not playing by the rules has absolutely skyrocketed. But here's the thing. As dramatic as those cases are, they're not just happening in a vacuum. They're actually part of a much bigger and, frankly, a much more intimidating pattern of enforcement that's been building.
This chart really tells the story. In a 2022 to 23 financial year, the FSCA handed out about 100 million Rand in penalties. Okay, but just 1 year later, that number exploded to over 943 million Rand. That is nearly a 10-fold increase. This isn't a gradual change, it's a seismic shift.
So where is all this regulatory firepower being aimed? Well, in the 2024/25 year, a whopping 70% of all new cases were aimed at unregistered financial services. The FSCA has a crystal clear target: operators working outside the law, without the license and oversight that's there to protect investors.
So, when you put all the pieces together, the message from the regulator couldn't be any clearer. They've moved past just handing out fines. The new game plan is to remove bad actors from the system entirely.
But why is all this happening right now? What lit the fire under South Africa's regulators all of a sudden? Well, it turns out the answer isn't inside the country's borders. We need to zoom out and look at the international stage.
I want you to meet the Financial Action Task Force, or FATF. The easiest way to think of them is as the world's financial police. They set the global rules for fighting things like money laundering, and then they check up on countries to see if they're actually doing their job. And believe me, their opinion matters a lot. And this timeline is where it all clicks into place. See, being on the FATF's gray list is really bad news for a country's economy. It hurts your reputation, scares away investors, and just makes doing business globally way harder. So, in 2024, it was a huge deal when South Africa got off that list. But the job isn't done. There's another massive evaluation coming at the end of 2026. And this time, it's not enough to just have the right laws. The country has to prove its enforcement is tough and effective. This whole crackdown, it's basically South Africa building its case for that global review.
Okay, so we've got a domestic crackdown that's being fueled by international pressure. But what does all of this actually mean for financial institutions? And maybe more importantly, what does it mean for the average person? For financial businesses, the takeaway is simple. Compliance is everything. Checking the license of any company you want to partner with isn't just good practice anymore. It's a non-negotiable step to avoid getting into serious trouble. And for the rest of us, this is a huge reminder that an operator's official license is your #1 shield against fraud. Before you even think about investing, you have to check if they're legit. The regulator is cleaning house, but it's still on us to be vigilant.
So how can you protect yourself? It really boils down to 3 simple but incredibly powerful steps. First, always ask for their financial service provider or FSP license number. Second, don't just take their word for it. Go and verify that number yourself directly on the FSCA's official website. And third, always be wary of any investment that promises things that sound way too good to be true, because they probably are.
And that brings us to our final thought for today. In this world of really complex financial products and slick marketing, could it be that checking for a license, that one simple move, is the single most powerful thing an investor can do to protect their hard-earned money? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.